What if I told you that more than 70% of people who bought Bitcoin during hype cycles ended up losing money? Not because Bitcoin failed, but because they never understood what they were actually buying. And what if I told you that the current Bitcoin crash has less to do with technology and much more to do with trust, narratives, and uncomfortable questions people don't want to ask? Today, I want to explain why I personally hate Bitcoin right now. Not forever, not emotionally, but at this moment in time. This is not a hate video. This is not a panic video. This is about understanding what's really happening beneath the price. If you're a beginner, this video can save you from emotional investing. And if you've been around for a while, this might completely change how you look at risk. Narrative risk is one of the most important concepts that most people never hear about. Yet it explains why Bitcoin can crash so violently without anything actually breaking. Markets don't move on numbers alone. They move on stories, emotions, and fear. A narrative is the story people collectively believe about an asset. Bitcoin has carried several major narratives. It's digital gold. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a way to escape corrupt systems, and it's decentralized. When these stories weaken, the price reacts. Imagine two identical houses worth $300,000. Now imagine a headline says the area is being investigated for environmental risks. Nothing has actually happened, but buyers hesitate and prices drop. That is narrative risk in action. Bitcoin is even more sensitive because it has no cash flow. Stocks have earnings and balance sheets to reassure investors. Bitcoin only has belief, scarcity, and network trust. When belief shakes, there's nothing to anchor the price. Think of Bitcoin like a steel bridge. The steel is strong, but if people believe the bridge is unsafe, traffic stops. The bridge hasn't failed, but fear empties it. When major global scandals resurface in the media, people start questioning everything. Bitcoin gets pulled into these conversations, whether fairly or unfairly. Markets don't wait for proof. They react to whether something feels risky. A price drop doesn't mean your long-term thesis is wrong. It means short-term fear is dominating. Think of it like this. Price equals fundamentals times narrative times liquidity. Even if the code is stable, fear can crash the price. For beginners, the best approach is to stop watching the price constantly. Separate short-term noise from long-term belief, and only invest money you can afford to leave alone. Bitcoin punishes impatience far more than ignorance. In the next part, we'll discuss why volatility is not always dangerous and how institutions really approach Bitcoin. This is where most people finally understand how the game is truly played. Many people confuse volatility with risk. Volatility is just price movement. Risk is permanent loss. If Bitcoin drops and then recovers, that's just volatility. But if you panic and sell at the bottom, that becomes a real loss. The market didn't hurt you. Your reaction did. Think of it like the gym. Your muscles hurt and your body shakes. That is stress, not injury. If you quit every time it gets uncomfortable, you never get stronger. Volatility is financial stress, not always financial damage. Institutions don't think like retail investors. They don't care about tomorrow's price. They care about probabilities over 5 to 10 years. Retail investors often overallocate and react emotionally. Institutions wait, retail panics. If you can't handle a 50% swing emotionally, you are overexposed. Smart money does the opposite of the crowd. Understanding this distinction is key to survival in the Bitcoin market. In the next part, we'll talk about liquidity. Price doesn't move on narratives alone. It moves on liquidity, the money available to buy or sell. High liquidity means smooth movement. Low liquidity leads to violent swings. Bitcoin often operates in low liquidity conditions, especially during fear. Imagine a town with one gas station. If 5 people buy gas, the price is stable. If 100 people rush at once, prices spike. If people stop buying, the station drops prices aggressively just to survive. That's what happens to Bitcoin during liquidity droughts. Crashes are often chains of forced selling, leverage liquidations, and stop-loss triggers. Each layer pushes the price lower, triggering the next. Think of it like dominoes. One falls, others follow. This cascade effect is mechanical, not emotional. Crashes are not failures. They are market resets. Every major Bitcoin cycle includes them. They remove excess leverage and leave behind long-term holders. In the next part, we'll talk about trust and the media's role. Trust is fragile in the Bitcoin market. Markets collapse when people stop believing the system makes sense. Unlike stocks with CEOs and earnings calls, Bitcoin has only code, community, and collective belief. When belief shakes, price movements become extreme. Fear narratives follow a pattern. Price drops, media speculating, and confidence eroding. Filtering noise is crucial. Ask yourself, does this change Bitcoin's code? Does it prevent global adoption? If not, it's just noise. Calm thinking is your most powerful tool. Think of Bitcoin like the ocean. Waves are loud and violent, but the tide moves slowly and silently. Most people trade the waves. Professionals study the tides. You don't need to win arguments. You need to preserve capital. Bitcoin does not collapse because of rumors. People collapse because they overreact. In the next part, we'll discuss who should actually own Bitcoin and how to build a rational plan without the hype. This is where it all comes together. Bitcoin is not for everyone. It's for those who can tolerate uncertainty and long time horizons. You should not own Bitcoin if you panic when prices fall, need the money soon, or expect fast, easy gains. Bitcoin punishes emotional dependence. Owning Bitcoin is a probabilistic bet, not a religious belief. You're saying there's a non-zero chance it plays a role in the future financial system. A rational approach means allocating a small portion, avoiding leverage, and defining your exit rules. Think of Bitcoin like a startup. Most fail, while a few transform industries. It's not a sure thing. It's an asymmetric possibility. If it never reaches new highs, your allocation should be small enough that it doesn't affect your life. Bitcoin is not dangerous. Unrealistic expectations are. In the final part, I will give my honest final verdict and show you how to build wealth without the obsession. This is where all the lessons tie together and become actionable. If you've watched this far, you already know something most people don't. Bitcoin isn't simple, it isn't evil, and it isn't magic. It is a high volatility experiment shaped by human psychology. I don't hate Bitcoin. I hate how it is being treated right now. Approach it with discipline, not excitement. If Bitcoin feels overwhelming, focus on what actually builds wealth: consistent income, saving discipline, and emotional control. Stop asking if Bitcoin will make you rich and start asking how to make better financial decisions. Clarity beats confidence. Write down why you are interested, decide your time horizon, and ignore extreme opinions. Bitcoin does not demand belief. It demands patience, humility, and restraint. If you can't offer those, step back. That is not failure. That is wisdom. If this video helped you think clearly instead of react emotionally, like it, and subscribe for finance explained without hype, fear, or manipulation. The goal isn't excitement. The goal is understanding. Thank you for watching.